Namaste and welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity Yoga. And we're going to continue our exercise of answering questions from the chart. So I will reach right in and pull a question out. And before I look at it, I'll try to set my timer here. Just give me 2 seconds of a lamb's tail, whatever that is. There we go. And I'll take a deep breath. And I will exhale. And let's hope I can make out this writing. Okay. Michael Singer teaches that we need to practice being okay. What does that mean? Michael Singer teaches that we need to practice being okay. And what does that mean? Of course, I can't speak for Michael Singer. I don't know exactly what he means by it. But I've heard him speaking on this issue, and I do agree with him 100% that we need to practice. So my take on those words would be, and again, not expert, just my opinion, would mean that all life is a practice. Everything we do is a practice. Life is one great big practice field, whether it be a soccer pitch or a tennis court or a musical auditorium. It doesn't matter. Life is one big practice. Yoga, for example, is considered a practice, and I'm looking at Hatha yoga, the yoga that we do in the studio, on the mat or whatever. And I'm teaching chair yoga now, and I always tell my students before we begin, and I did it throughout my years teaching Hatha yoga, that this is a practice for a reason. We are not supposed to be perfect at what we're doing. We're supposed to learn and grow into the practice. So when you start an asana or a pose, don't expect to do it perfectly. Don't try to keep up with the person next to you who's been practicing yoga for 20 years if you're a beginner, and try to get into that pose. Listen to your body. Learn from your body. Learn from the pain and the challenge. And when you do mess up, and we all mess up, learn from it and say, okay, this is what happens. I'm going to do better next time. I'm going to learn from this mistake, see what I've done wrong, correct it, and then do better to learn. And you have to keep that intent to learn there, not just with Hatha, but with everything we do in life. We need to keep that intent to learn, to look at the practice. Not that we have to be the perfect with everything we do in life, as so many of us believe, and that just makes us neurotic because we say, well, I have to be like this, exactly like this, in order to get what I want, right? I have to be exactly like this for that person to like me. I need to do this in order to achieve and have that feeling of success. But life is a practice. It's not about perfection. And the more we practice, the more we learn and the more we grow, the more mistakes. And the biggest part about a practice is mistakes, right? We learn more from our mistakes and our slips and our fallbacks than we could ever learn from constantly doing great at something. There's no challenge in that. There's no fun in that. I was on the tennis court for the first time in 20 years yesterday. And I used to love playing tennis. I was never great at it, but it was a sport I truly loved. And before I stopped finishing tennis back then, that would have been, in my 20s. I probably was better than it was in my 40s. But I was getting my backhand great. I was getting my forehand great. Had a pretty good serve. And so you get on the court after 20 years and you have this semi-expectation that those things are going to come automatically back to you. But they don't. My maturity and my life growth kicked in on the court yesterday when I realized, after I was making all these, flubs and balls going everywhere, I realized that it was okay. I'm practicing again. This is a practice. I'm just practicing. This is okay. I can flub up. I can hit the ball into the net. I can hit it over the fence. It's okay. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to check what I've done. And I'm intent on learning. Intent. Not necessarily on getting better at the sport, but going with the sport's intention. This is how you hit a forehand for a reason. This is how you hit a backhand for a reason. This is how you serve for a reason. Enjoy the process and enjoy all the flubs and enjoy and laugh at them and grow with them. And it was great that I was just aware, I guess, of the lack of competitiveness I had in me this time playing tennis than I would have had, say, 20 years ago or 40 years ago. I've been playing tennis for a long time, and the racket I happened to be using was a racket that I bought when I was 21, and I was so proud of it. And it got a good practice yesterday, too. And it was just fun. And I took that a little bit further into my life, and all these mistakes I'm making, all these things that just don't seem to be working out. All the things people are saying to me, all the times I slip and fall in my reaction and response to things. It's all just a practice. And the practice is I'm intent on learning. And by my intention on learning, I am handling reality. One of the reasons why, say back in the time I started tennis, why I was so competitive and so intense in playing, was because I thought I had to be perfect at it, and I thought it had to be a certain way, and I had all these expectations for myself in it. What will people say if they come by the court and I'm flubbing all these balls? And how would it look? I want people to think I'm good at something, so I'm really going to try hard to be good at tennis so other people see me that way. And of course, when you have that in your mindset, that intensity and that effort, instead of effortless action, it becomes very efforted and struggled action, and it just falls back on you. It stops becoming a practice when you seek perfection instead of the learning potential in everything we do. It stops becoming a practice and it becomes a chore. It becomes resistance. It becomes a struggle. It becomes suffering. So we need to learn to handle everything. We need to realize that we do have that potential. We can handle reality. Once we realize that life is not here to serve us and it's not supposed to be the way we want, we're not supposed to hit every ball over the net in the perfect way and get a point. No, we are just supposed to learn and grow and enjoy the process of learning. Enjoy it all. And when we realize that we can handle reality, then we begin practicing handling reality. Everybody has the potential to play tennis. Okay, you may not play great, you may not play, pro level, but everybody has the potential to play tennis. You just have to go on the court realizing that you can handle the game. And that means handling the mistakes and handling the learning that has to take place to become better at this. You do what you can until you can do better. And you start right where you're at, whatever level you're at. And that's what I tell my Hatha students. You're starting where you are now. This is your beginning. Let's just go from here. Don't go back. Don't think of all the times you flopped up in certain things. Don't think of all the times you couldn't do something right. And don't think of all the times that, you failed and slipped up, and which we tend to do. The past is past. It's gone. We have this moment and we're moving forward with it. So right here, we're going to practice handling reality. Right here, we're going to be better or try to be better than we were yesterday at handling life, at handling the reality of life, the what-isness of it, the suchness of it. Without our expectations and our need and our preference for it to be a certain way, it just is. And we're going to start handling it. We're going to do our best to handle what comes at us. And some of those things that come at us could be like getting a tennis ball right between the eyeballs. They can come that hard and that fast. Knock you down. Okay, you're knocked down. Take a breath, get back up, and begin again. That's what you do. Okay? Take a step back if you have to. Think about it. Just briefly. Take a deep breath. Stand up. Okay, this is what I did. Maybe I'll do better next time. And it's always about the next time. It's always about getting better for the next time. I can handle reality. Maybe I slipped today. Maybe I said something very offensive to someone in reaction to something that triggered them in me. Okay. Think about, okay, was it Sam Scarra they triggered? Okay. Step back away from the situation for a while. Take that deep breath. Get yourself back up, shake it off, and begin again. Try better the next time. And with that commitment and that intention, we can only get better in our practice. And the whole time we're practicing, be it hatha yoga or tennis or how to play the piano or dealing with other human beings or dealing with adversity, every time we practice, we need to have fun. We need to see the joy in it, the experience of it. And eventually, every time we go out there, wherever it is, on the court of life, and we flub up, we'll be more concerned about the joy we have doing it and the joy we're having learning in this wonderful playground we get to play in called Earth as we progress in our journeys. Well, that's what I would say to those statements, that we need to start practicing handling life. Again, I can't speak for Michael Singer, though. I do listen intently to his teachings on that. But this is my version of it, coming from years of yoga, years of life experience, and self-reflection. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing day. Namaste.